everyone, and thank you for coming to this awesome webinar that we have planned for you today. And it's really how to learn how to gain the market exposure that you so deserve. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, when I'm out and about and talking with salon owners, I get asked quite a bit, Kristi, how do we get into the magazines? How do we get some national exposure? And that's a great question, isn't it? I know that you as salon owners work really, really hard at building your salons. You have a dream, right? You built a salon. You're making profit. You're building this awesome team. You're doing it right. You're doing things new, better, bigger, different in your marketing. And you're like, hey, I want to get into the magazines like I see those other salons. And you know what? That's a great goal to go for. And I just really want you to set that as a goal. I think it's a wonderful way to acknowledge your salon in getting some national exposure like that, but it's not easy, isn't it? In fact, sometimes I think it's one of the harder things that your salon company will do. So I want to break through those myths. I want to break through any questions that you have. I have the expert with us. I have the editor-in-chief of Salon Today magazine, STACEY Sobel, who will be helping us out with 4 different areas that you can get engaged with Salon Today magazine on purpose, and she'll be giving you some helpful tips to help you through those processes and tell you the reasons why this is a benefit for not only your salon, but for you to share your information, especially through Salon Today magazine, to share with other salon owners. Because what I love about Salon Today magazine is it's like a magazine for owners in our industry to really learn how to grow your businesses. So I just want to thank you for being here. And if you are watching the replay, I just want to thank you for being here during the replay. And if you have any questions at all regarding the information that you have here, I will invite you to reach out to me at kvalenzuela@summitsalon.com. It's KVALEN, Z as in zebra, UELA, @summitsalon.com, and I'll have Stacy give her contact information in just a bit as well. Okay, let's get this party started. I'm going to go right into webinar mode, and thank you again for coming. I'm going to go off camera now so that we can concentrate on these slides that you see in front of you. So let me do that. There we go. Okay, perfect. So are you ready to learn how you can gain the market exposure that you deserve? So let me invite STACEY Sobel, Editor-in-Chief, Salon Today magazine, to say hi to everybody. So welcome, Stacy. Thanks for being here with us.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for having me. One of my favorite topics, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, that's good. And you know what? I just want to acknowledge you guys on your side for working so hard for our industry to bring us the wonderful stories that you have through your magazine. I love reading your magazine. I feel like it's an educational piece for our industry. So I just want to thank you and your team. Please pass that along to your team. We just appreciate it.
Thank you. I definitely will. They'll appreciate that too.
Excellent. Well, Stacy, when we chatted kind of off air, if you will, I posed that million-dollar question to you. How do salons get into your magazine or even other, large publications to get national exposure? That's such a lift for a salon owner to see their name or their brand in a salon magazine be acknowledged. And you had said there's actually 4 different ways. So I'm going to have you expand on that a little bit. But do you want to give us like a broad brush stroke of?
Yeah. Well, it's basically for us, and we created all these competitions. We have 4 different competitions, and one of the major reasons we created all of them was to try to go out and harvest the information that we want for the magazine and to meet the owners that are doing little cutting edge kinds of things. And then through those, and so we're going to talk a little bit about each of those competitions today and how to get involved with each one and why they're important. But then through that, we also, each one of those programs, we help salons by developing media kits. So we help them get their name out in their own local markets by doing a whole press release packet of materials that they can use to promote. And our biggest competition, Salon Today 200, we've actually leveraged the know-how from lots of past winners and honorees about what special things they've done once they've gotten that recognition to turn that into a media campaign. So it comes with, like, I think it's a 4-page document of ideas from past salon owners. So we are really just harvesting the wisdom that's out there in the professional beauty industry and repackaging it for everybody.
Well, that's excellent, and we appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get into some of those different ways that you had mentioned to me, and we kind of organized that for this webinar. So let me see what our next slide brings us to here. The first thing that we're going to talk about today, or I really want you to expand on, is probably one of the things I think, and Stacey, I don't know if you would agree with this, this is one of the would you say competitions that you're most known for Salon Today magazine, which is the Salon Today 200?
Well, definitely. This is our kind of our landmark, probably most important. I wouldn't say it's the most important, but it's probably the highest regarded competition that we have. And each year in January, we name 200 salons that are really doing cutting edge business things. And we basically started this because 20 years ago when it was launched, there was NAHA for like the artistry of the industry, but there wasn't anything to really recognize great business ideas and great businesses within the industry and great salon owners. So we launched it for that reason, to kind of build a program that recognized great business ideas, because that's what our magazine is about. And then also to create a forum where we could start gathering data and provide benchmarks. So it's also a big kind of state of the industry, what's going on in business, and we share the results of those from the 200 owners that are selected, and that kind of creates benchmarks that all owners can look at and kind of measure themselves against to see where they are. So
that's awesome. So, you know, one of the things that I can tell you that I know a lot of salons personally that have been recognized in the Salon Today 200 over the years. And I just know, you know, really what that means to them when they, quote unquote, win that placement of the Salon Today 200, and the joy it brings to the team, you know, what they can do with press releases, and you know, hanging it on as a plaque on the wall. You know, there's so many great things that come with the recognition of being in this 200 in the publication. So if you haven't entered or entered in one, many of you hold on to Salon Today magazine. At least you should. So if you don't have Salon Today magazine coming to, you know, your salon, you better do that, because there's so much information. It's really an educational magazine. So talk to us a little bit more about the 11 different categories inside of the competition.
Sure. So when we launched about 20 years ago, there was really only one category, and that was growth. And we're basically looking at gross sales from one year over the next and measuring that percentage, and then the salons that are reporting the highest percentage. And we don't just ask them, they have to validate these numbers with copies of their tax returns or a letter from their accountant verifying that the numbers that they're giving us are correct. So that was kind of the foundation of the competition, and for about 10 years we just looked at growth. And then a little thing called the recession happened, and we were a little concerned that we wouldn't get 200 salons that were showing positive growth. So we also, and at the same time, the world was kind of shifting. When we launched this magazine, Fast Company was big, everything was about bigger, better. That's the way to measure your success. And after the recession, it was more about, are you running a smart business? Are you running a healthy business? Are you being healthy running your business? So we looked at 11 different competition categories, and we tweak these every year. We'll take one out and throw another one in. So a couple of years ago, we added salon culture. This year, we're doing a new one called Profit Center, and that's about kind of launching a new division of your company, whether that might be a blowout bar, or maybe you're launching a nail area for the first time, but kind of looking at that as a success. And then all the other categories now are there things like customer service, technology, philanthropy, staff education, customer retention. So there are a variety of different categories. And when we went to the different category method, we also kind of changed the way that you enter the competition. So now you can pick and choose how you enter. So you kind of design your own Salon Today 200 experience. And there are 11 different categories. I always kind of advise people who are looking at doing this for the first time to pick 2 or 3 categories that they think they really shine in and focus on those. I think to try to do all 11, especially your first time out, is a little daunting. But if you look at it at the competition and just choose a couple, it isn't challenging at all. It takes some time. We do ask about 3 pages of statistics about your business, and then there are some essay questions for each of the competition categories. But we kind of walk you through exactly what we're looking for, and I always remind people that we're not judging on grammar, we're not judging on spelling. I definitely would never expect for someone to come to me and I'd be able to cut your hair. So I'm not expecting for you to be a great writer. We'll do that. We'll polish it up, but we're looking for the ideas, the value of the ideas in the application. So that's a little bit about that. Does that kind of get to your question, KRISTI?
It does. And so where can we find the application for this?
The application is on, all of our applications are on salontoday.com. And there's a tab on the top that says, I think it says events and competitions. And then you scroll down and they all have their own tabs. So you go to that, and it almost always, if the application is live, meaning you can enter right now, it'll come up on top. So it'll be the first story that you get to.
Okay.
And I think all of them you can enter online, or you can download a printable application and do it the old-fashioned way. So
they can download, print, fill out, and send to you snail mail if they want to.
If they want to. It's easier for us, and it's probably easier for you if you're comfortable with it to do it online.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Well, that's great. And, that's become easier over the years. So I just want to recap. And I want to be the encourager and the person that empowers the people that are listening right now. You have awesomeness in you. And I know there is awesomeness in you in 1 or 2 or 3 or more of these categories. And so I really think this could be your next step in really having to sit down and think about that and get that out of your head and into an application like this. I think just the due diligence of doing that is going to take you to the next level as a salon owner or manager. It's going to take you to the next level of really having to reflect on the things that you have accomplished and things that you are new, better, bigger, different in. And I just want you to take Stacey's advice. You do not have to be in all of these categories at all. Pick 2 or 3, especially if this is your first time in, so you can focus and it doesn't feel overwhelming to you. Pick 1 and just know that you did it. I will tell you, whether you are honored as the 200 or not, you will be honored in my book. And you will definitely grow from having to do the due diligence of really just having to think about it or getting your team involved. So, Stacey, before we move on to the next competition, if you will, or the next category, do you have any hot tips for us that you could give us as kind of an expert? You're kind of a leader in the sidelines of this every single year. What are maybe 2 or 3 hot tips that you can give somebody filling out this app or going for it?
Well, the first tip would be if you do have the numbers behind your business and you have grown at a rate of 10% over the last 2 years that we measure on the application, then I would definitely go for the growth category, because we profile 100 people in growth and the other 100 are divided amongst the other 10 categories. So there's the bigger opportunity to do it. And I say 10% because every year that number will go up and down based on how many people enter and how the economy is doing, but usually the lowest person in the 200 nets out around 10%. So if you're higher than that, definitely go for the growth part. Number one, it's the easier of the categories to enter if you have the numbers behind your business, because it's not reliant on the essay. It's more about the number. So the others, we have to rely on the essay for you to tell us about that area. So the essay is still important because we gather information about your salon and your quote, but it's not the determining factor, really. Another tip, one of the other tip I already talked about was to pick 2 or 3. And then there's a lot of different ways of filling these out, but I know, and Kitty Tierney's on the phone, and she's done this many, many, many times and could probably teach this class. But I would talk to other owners you may know who have been in the 200 about how they fill out the application. I would gather your team and make it a team effort. Each of the essay questions is like a number of little questions together, and we're kind of guiding you through the information we're looking at. And we find a lot of owners who harness the wisdom of their team, they'll come up with things that they didn't think about or they forgot about, and their team will remind them of their things that they should profile. And then finally, I would say, I had another thought and I kind of forgot what it was, but it might come to me a little bit. But those are the key things. Oh, what I was going to say is the process. You kind of said this, KRISTI, but I have many, 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 many owners that tell me, even if they didn't win or hadn't won, just the process of going through it is good for strategic planning for the following year, because it really makes you look at these key areas of your business and examine them and what you've done and how you've grown, and which starts to get your mind thinking about what you can do the following year. And there are people that actually will plan their strategic plan around these categories so that they can spotlight them when they enter the competition. And then the last thing that we're really, really looking for is, if, say you're talking about a marketing idea, show us the numbers behind the success of that, or you're talking about a client retention program, tell us like your client retention rates, or we want to see the numbers behind it. And I know Summit's very big on measurement, and we want to see we want to see that people are measuring their success and they are proving that they are actually getting better. So if there's any way in any of these categories, is there any way to document that, that's really important in your essay.
Well, that's awesome, Stacey, and you're right. I mean, Summit salons definitely measure what they treasure. It's part of our belief system. Everything has a budget. Everything has accountability. Everything is compared, to growth. So, Summit salons use that strength that you have as salon owners now, as business owners, and your numbers. Reach out to your coaches and ask them to help you with this. I know that they would be super willing to do that. In fact, some of our Summit coaches actually are salon owners that might be entering in this year and the years to come. So I just really want to encourage that. And I love your thought about getting your team involved, especially in some of these other categories. Stacey, I think it would be really exciting to get their feedback and get their excitement in this.
Yeah, I had an owner 1 year tell me that she's English is not her native language. So she would actually type out the applications, and then she would give them to VIP clients that were in getting their color done to proof. So like everybody was involved in the process, even the clients.
Even the clients. That's one way to do it. That's great. All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's move on to the next category. Let me get my slides going here. There we go. So this is an interesting category. So this is, this is Salons of the Year. So tell us about this category or this competition.
Yeah, Salons of the Year. This one is going to be starting in October, the application season, and it runs. The date of entry is January 31st, and this is an interior design competition. So you're eligible if you are newly opened, either a renovated salon or a new salon that has opened within the past 2 years. And we're looking at the decor of the salon. So this one is very driven by your photographs. It's good if you work with a photographer that has some experience with interiors because lighting can be tricky sometimes to photograph. And it's a big photo-based competition about the interior design of the salon. This magazine comes out in June, and every year we profile 20 of what we believe that year are the most gorgeous salons in the country. So.
And is there anything that helps with this? Again, any inside tips? Tell us about the salon company that we're seeing on the cover that's displayed here. That's gorgeous. So is there a story behind that they shared? Does that help? Tell us about that.
Yeah, stories do help. Probably gorgeous images are first. You have to have the gorgeous images first, but if you have a story behind the design of the salon, that's great. And this salon had both. This salon's in Webster Groves, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis, or just outside of St. Louis. And it was actually a 1940s gymnasium that they refurbished and turned into a salon. So they created a mezzanine level on the second floor, and it's a little hard to tell on the cover because the logo's over it, but they have this just gorgeous, beautiful arched wooden truss ceiling with these trusses that go all the way across, and that just kind of set the scene. It was gorgeous, but then they really told the story of how they tried to preserve all of those things. Like they still have the veneer wood with the lines from the basketball goals and in the salon, and that you can see that as part of it. They still have some exposed brick that was in a fire at one point, and it looks creative and beautiful and artistic now, but you can still see where some of the damage from the fire was. So there was a great story behind this one as well. And they say that a lot of clients come in and they used to play basketball there as children, and they get very emotional about being there again. So that's very cool.
Well, I will tell you that if just looking back at, where I used to play or in high school or, gymnasiums that I was in, it would be wild walking back in, 20 years later and having your hair cut where you used to play, basketball.
Basketball, so, right.
Yeah, it's a great story and a wonderful picture. Very, very nicely done photography there. And I think that was your top tip. So if you qualify, you're newly open with, and you have to be open for a full 2 years before you can enter, or you've renovated
No, you don't have to be open for 2 years. You have to have opened within the last 2 years. So if you were open longer than 2 years,
say that again.
Right. You have to have opened within the past 2 years. So you've had to have your opening date, or if you renovated, your reopened date has to be within the past 2 years. If you're older than that, then you're too old. You should have entered already. But
you're too old. All right. Well, that's perfect. Thank you for clarifying for me and for everyone listening. So that's great. Okay, I'm clear on that. So that's great. Work with a great photographer was the other big tip that Stacy gave to us as well. So
and that is an expense, and we realize that. But you have to also think about those pictures are going to be invaluable for your marketing, for your website, for any community posters or things you do around the community. So you'll get a lot of value out of those pictures as well.
That's true. It's not just for submitting for the competition. You're going to use it, right? So that's a great point to that. It's a wonderful point. And I have to ask you, for the salons that submit, is there one winner?
For this one, there is one overall winner, and they get the cover. So this was the salon for this year, was on the cover. And then there's a first runner-up, second runner-up, third runner-up, and then there are 16 honorable mention salons. So we profile all 20 in that magazine, the top 20 finalists. But from those, we picked the first winner. And usually, this is something that we do with our sister magazine, Modern Salon. So that whole team of Modern Salon editors helps me pick and there's probably, by the time you get us all together, 12, 13 of us, and our art director, who's very important in this competition because he has a whole different aesthetic. We pick the finalists, and then we usually go out and ask outside design experts that don't have a tie to a particular somebody who's in the contest. They can't have a they couldn't have been a designer in one of the salons in the contest. But we try to get people with expertise in design and architecture and to help us pick the winner.
Okay, so one winner gets the cover, but there's 20 honorees each year. So here's my question for you, and I'm just curious. So let's say 100 people filled out the application, sent you pictures and so forth. Only 20
right.
honorees can be on top there. For the other salons that you have materials from, do you ask for permission to use them as sources later for their photos or for stories?
Well, that's actually a very good point, and I'll give you an example today, because today I'm actually judging our next competition we're going to talk about. But yes, in the application, you sign off that we can use the information in the application for a story. And we have a column in Salon Today called Architects of Design, and then on the website, it's called Salon Tours. And so we'll frequently post, if there are some salons that we just think are gorgeous that didn't make that top 20, we'll profile them there. We do profile all our honorees there as well. But we do continue to tell those stories and harvest the knowledge. And like I said earlier, that we started all of these competitions to really gather information from salons across the country. We do hold on to those applications for a year or two and continue to harvest them. And today I'm working on Stamp, and we had so many fabulous marketing ideas this year, and I'm not going to I only am limited by the pages that I have in that issue to tell the stories of our winners. I've already flagged some for future issues. So for other stories, or they were a really clever idea but didn't really quite fit any of our marketing categories, and I'm like, this will make a cool story on its own. So that happens a lot. And then I also just get to know people through them. When people apply, I get to know them. It opens up that relationship. And I say this to anybody anytime. If you've got a great idea or something that's really cool that's working in your salon, just send me an email and tell me. You don't have to write the story. Just send me a couple of sentences about what you're doing and what's really great about it and why is it working. And, we get a lot of story ideas that way. So.
Stacey, do you want to? That's a perfect time to give your email. So go ahead and just shout out your email address.
My email is my name, so it's Stacey, STACEY, and then there's a period, and it's SOBLE, S as in Sam, O, B as in boy, LE, and I'm at Bobbitt, and that's spelled B as in boy, O, B as in boy, IT.com.
Okay, great. And we'll repeat that at the end as well for everybody. Okay, so are we ready to move on? I think that was great.
Yeah.
I have such a better understanding of the salons of the year and what happens, for the winner, the honorees, and everyone after that really are seeds to your future harvest, which I love. All right,
great.
So let's move on to the next one there, and that is Stamp. So you just alluded a little bit to Stamp. You said you're kind of knee-deep in it right now. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, I alluded to this. This was actually one of our competition categories in the Salon Today 200, and it's a marketing competition. But we used to get so many great marketing pieces submitted in with the Salon Today 200 applications and the 200 doesn't really offer us the format to show the marketing pieces. I thought, well, let's just break this out and make it its own competition. So we did that about 5 years ago, and this is our September issue every year. And by the way, when I say issue, everything is also online. So there's a digital edition on our website, which you can access for free. And then all the stories are on there individually as well. So you can read it as a digital edition, or you can read individual stories, or you can search for it. If you knew somebody that won one, you could search their name and probably find the category that they were in. Anyway, so Stamp is a marketing competition, and it spans, I think right now we have 26 different categories, and it goes from everything like traditional ads and email newsletters to digital things like websites and mobile apps and every year it kind of grows, and someone will throw something at me I've never heard of before, so that's always kind of interesting. And then we have a lot of campaign categories. So there's a guerrilla marketing campaign, which means like low cost, like you did something really creative but spent practically no budget. And there's probably just 8 different campaign ideas. And then there's in-salon marketing, signage, and things that you're showing in the salon. So it's everything that we could think of in marketing, and then we included an other category for things that we didn't think of. So every year I probably had 15 things in the other category. This year there were things that I hadn't heard of before. So we have to either create a category for them if we think they're an idea that wins, or try to fit them in one that we think it most fits with. But this one kind of changes every year just based on the interest that we get and what's going on in marketing. So
that's great. You know, I'm actually having an idea right now. I just want to put it out there in the universe. I think, Stacey, when this one gets closer, maybe you and I need to jump on a webinar and just spend some time on STAMP, just really drilling down into this one, maybe going back into the previous one to give inspiration. I feel like we could do a 40 minutes on this one to encourage people on what it is and how, what's been submitted, what they could submit, and things like that. I'd love to do that with you if you'd be interested in that.
Oh, I'd love to, and I actually have given this as a presentation out in the industry, so I kind of go back and collect a couple of the ideas from each year that I really love, and we put together a PowerPoint. And we can't do every one that's ever won, but we kind of spotlight some of the most creative ideas, and I have that in a PowerPoint format already, so that's something that we could definitely do. And again, this competition was designed so, number one, we could harvest all those great ideas, but that we can also share them. So it's a forum. You could go and look at this marketing edition, and maybe you're not going to run. You get an idea, and you're not going to do it exactly like someone else does it, but you can put your own twist on it, or it'll inspire an idea for you in your own salon. So that's what it was created for, to kind of inspire everybody else and to share ideas, because let's face it, a lot of salon owners feel a little isolated because they're kind of out there on their own with their teams, but they're not necessarily getting a lot of ideas from each other, and it's hard to get ideas from other people in your marketplace. So that's what this is kind of created to do.
Oh, I love it. It's great. This is a great issue when you announce the winners and talk about everything. So that's awesome. All right. Any last tips about STAMP, or should we move on, Stacey?
STAMP, again, I wouldn't say it's a photographic competition, but it is about your marketing materials. So if you work with an agency to do that, or you do them yourself, just send us the best renditions of things that you've done. A lot of people have them photographed, or I don't know, a lot of the ways that they're designed now, you can actually just clip that and send that, but or you can send in the actual pieces and we can photograph them. But it's also a very visual competition because it's all about the marketing pieces of themselves. So that's important.
Good. And then just remember, right, to quantify your successes for this one as well.
Yeah, that's important. That was important as well. We want to know how many new clients it brought in, or how many services it sold, or whatever it was designed to do. We want to know what did it actually do, and was it a good return on your investment.
Well, again, I just want to be the voice of empowerment, because I'll tell you, I'm just amazed when I go out to our top salons in America, and when I do have the privilege to working with a team and standing in a salon for the day, I look around and I'm just blown away at the creative ideas, especially since the world is changing, and we've had to reinvent how we market. We now have budgets we have to stay within. I love your guerrilla marketing, marketing on a shoestring budget. I love that because that's what we need. A lot of times we don't have any money, but we need to bring in clients. So awesome. Thanks. I just love this, and I want to thank Salon today for empowering our industry with the winners and the information that comes out of this too.
Well, and then I'll tell you this year, just this is a sneak peek, and this I'm not going to tell you who it is, but this year's winner involved a barbershop quartet. So they sent a barbershop quartet around before they opened this new concept that they were working on, and went to the most popular areas in the community, and that was their marketing. So, and it worked. So, well, it went hand in hand with a social campaign.
Better, bigger, different. I've never heard that one before. That's awesome. Thank you for the little insight on that one. That's great.
Yeah. So look for that one. Look for that story.
Okay. We will definitely do that. All right. So that's coming out in the September-October issue.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Okay, so the last one. So we talked about 4 different competitions, 4 different categories, and there's something for everyone. So tell us about Salon Today Total Makeover.
This one is probably quite a bit different than the other 3 because it wasn't launched to try to harvest more information from people. This one is actually launched to help people out. So this competition has a single winner, and we have a number of different sponsors. So this year, our sponsors are Takara Belmont, STX Software, and Keratin Complex, and each one of them have donated $10,000 worth of value of something. So STX is providing the software and the hardware for their salon management system. Takara Belmont is giving away $10,000 worth of furniture, and they help you pick an area to redesign in your salon. And Keratin Complex is offering, I think, their hair color line and their retail line to the winner. And this is really designed to kind of help a salon that maybe might feel a little stagnant and is trying to grow to the next level but needs a helping hand up. And each of these sponsors comes with somebody to kind of coach you through that process. So there's a design consultant that helps you redo the design part. The software company teaches you about the software, but they also teach you how to use it to drive your business. So we're really looking for someone who is eager to grow to the next level, but kind of feels a little stuck and needs kind of a helping hand, but is willing to grow. And there are a lot of people, and you'll see it in the applications, that are not willing to change to make that growth happen. So we're really looking for someone who's willing to adapt. And so, for example, for a salon that's not computerized, it might be a little daunting to give away that paper appointment book. But if you're going to enter this competition, we want you to be open to accepting the help that's offered. So that's what this one's all about.
I love it. Well, what an amazing category to go in if you feel like you need a little boost and you could use 30 grand. Holy moly.
Yeah. Well, it's not 30 grand in cash, but it's 30,
right, but
30
it's
grand
30
or
grand
more in help.
Yeah. That's going to surround them with goodness to grow that salon company. I think the value of the 30 grand probably goes way beyond that in the revenue that can be created once all of those wonderful things go into place. So,
and then what we're kind of looking from the winner is for them to share their story. So we kind of document the process as they get these different, and this one is kind of a long drawn out thing because they win and then we're still telling their story for a whole year because evolution takes time. So as they meet with each one of these companies and they kind of take that step, then we have blogs and we have little updates in the magazine that kind of talks about what they did with that money, and that's a certain category. So, and then how that helped them improve. And then hopefully that'll encourage other people to kind of take that step too.
I I love it. I think that's great. Well, that's just wonderful. And so we have walked through all 4 of those different competitions. So I'm just going to scroll back real fast. So we just talked about the total makeover. We talked about Stamp, the Salon Today marketing program. We talked about, oops, I'm going back and forth, back and forth. Hold on.
And there's us.
This is working, Stamp. We talked about Salons of the Year, and we talked about probably the most popular, the Salon Today 200. So again, just the voice of empowerment and encouragement. This presentation, there was something in it for everyone, and I really would love for you as a salon owner to take the next step and challenge yourself. I realize that getting into a competition like this might feel might have some fear in that. It might feel overwhelming in thinking about the time that's involved in that. But I want you to reach out to your resources. So Stacey, you've been cited, use your team to help you get excited and get you information. You can also, if you're working with a summit coach, have them give you some ideas, have them encourage you. So you're not alone in this. Let us surround you with love. Let us help you get into these categories. Let us help you grow as a salon owner. So with that, I'm going to go to our ending slide here, Stacey, and I'm just going to acknowledge you for the time that you spent with me. I think we have more things that we need to do together. I think we need to break down that Stamp. Again, one more time, really drill down into that right before people are ready to fill out those applications. And then possibly in the future, really break down the 11 categories inside of the Salon Today 200. So, Stacey, can you give your email address one more time?
Yeah, it's Stacey, S-T-A-C-E-Y, period, SOBLE, S-O-B-L-E, at Bobbitt, B-O-B-I-T.com. And the most important thing to remember about, in any of these competitions, the most important step is to apply. You can't win if you don't apply.
And I heard a little hot tip in there. I just want to repeat for Salon Today 200. Stacey shared with us that 100 of those slots, if you will, are reserved for salon growth. The other 100 is broken down into the other 11 categories. What Stacey said was if you're trending 10% growth or more for this past year, you are a very strong candidate to go into that growth category. Now, I know for sure that our Summit salons absolutely overqualify for that category, and I really want you to think about entering that. Your chances are better when you enter into a category that has 100 people that will be honored in that. Am I right, Stacey?
You're right. And like I said, usually, the low average for that category of growth is 10%. So if you're, and sometimes it goes a little lower, just depending on the economy and the number of people entering. But if you're above 10%, I would definitely enter because it's your easiest opportunity to get in. Okay,
and then I really want to be fully transparent and share with you, as a member of Summit Salon Business Center, as a co-owner of Summit Salon Business Center, and director of the product and sales division, we have had thousands of people come through the 3.5-day program and graduate from our cornerstone program called the Summit. And I know the growth that everyone has. But I also know how many of our Summit salons represent in a percentage of the 200 that are recognized every year. And we have a strong presence inside of those 200 salons. But I have a challenge to our Summit salons and to our Summit coaches that I want to see that percentage increase next year. The only way that we can dominate, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go for it, we're going to dominate and the 200 is by filling out those applications and going into it and giving Stacey the seeds that she needs to harvest later, whether you're an honoree or not, to get you recognized for the market exposure that you deserve, for a hardworking salon owner that had a dream and is doing it right. So again, just please let me encourage you, and thank you for letting me be fully transparent that I keep my eye on how many Summit salons are in there, and I want to see more in there next year.
And you definitely grow each year, so you're on the right track, and I know you can have more too. So.
Yes, and there's another, of course our business resource partnership is with the L'Oreal PPD brands, and we love having our salons that have that partnership in the magazine. There is a competitor in there. I'm just going to say this, Stacey. There's a competitor in there that is an amazing product company. They are amazing, and they are a very strong competitor.
They dominate.
The name of that company starts with a vowel, and they're great, and they should be recognized. But I will tell you that they are all very committed to sending in those applications, and that's why we see a lot of those salons in the 200. Am I right?
Yeah, that's definitely right. And we encourage everybody of any affiliation to enter, and but they do. They have kind of embraced us from the beginning, and they have really encouraged salons to go for it, and help them in which ways they could. But
they do a great job through their
that's
sales.
why you see that.
In there, the sales consultants are in there saying, "Hey, you guys got to apply." Their consultants are in there saying, "Hey, you guys got to apply." The brand is in there encouraging to apply. So I want to, as Summit, and on behalf of our amazing L'Oreal professional product brands, I want to encourage everybody under our wings to get in there and fill out that application so we can see our brands increase in the magazine. So thanks, Stacey.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm just going to go back on webcam for just a second to say goodbye to everybody, and thank you for being here. So let me see if I can bring my webcam up, and there I am.
Hey, everybody.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. I want to say hello to our replayers. I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you're going to do by putting in these applications. You're going to find one that fits you, and we'll give you every bit of support that we can on behalf of Summit and our consultant team and so forth. So, goodbye for now. Stacey, it's always wonderful talking with you, and it was especially nice for you to share your knowledge today. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to, let's delve into some of these ideas in a little more detail and share some of these great ideas that people have given us.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacey. Until next time, we've got more work to do, right? So until next time, everybody have a wonderful day and get those applications filled out. Take care.
Thank you.